What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one and only, Ash Brown, and this is the Ash Said It Show. Over 2,200 plus episodes since 2014, 700,000 streams globally. None of this is possible without you guys. So thank you so much for your love, your support. It makes a huge difference. Today, we are joined by the author of Sacrificing Humanity, Volume 1. We've got Indy Pederson with us today. Hey, Indy.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate it. So, to start things off, where did the inspiration for this book project come from?
I had no intent of writing a book. I was building a $60 million resort on an island that's a national park, so I had the island all to ourselves. I was the founder of a company that was building this resort, and I got the retainer of the number one architect in the world, in my opinion. He's kind of like the Frank Lloyd Wright of today, which Anton Priudoc. He's just passed away recently, unfortunately. Yeah. And had paid his large retainer and all of the expenses for him and his team to come down from the United States to a remote island. And I purchased that island project, 9 miles of a national park, and was building over top of a waterfall. And when I was buying it, the locals warned me, this island you're buying property on is a known UFO base. And I laughed at them because I did not believe in UFOs, because no one could get a decent picture of one. And they supposedly traveled light years only to crash here. So both of those things were good reasons for me not to believe in them. But these things have been explained with the huge disclosure movement that's been happening the last, especially the last few months.
Oh, yeah.
Which Tranche 4 and 5, it's some unbelievable footage in those. It's really clear that the UFOs know when they're on camera, and it's almost like they're saying, well, you think you got me locked in your gun sights? Well, watch this. Boom. And they're like instant acceleration that would turn anything into jello, and they're off the camera completely, and just absolute amazing instant acceleration. And then the especially amazing footage was the one on the moon that was Tranche 4, I believe. Where there's two of these red orbs. One of the ones I had 2 feet in front of my face, except they weren't the red ones or the white ones. There's difference between the colors, by the way. Yeah. And there's two of these. The one was materializing and dematerializing on the moon. So NASA has been hiding this for decades, as well as our government. So they've lied to us, and that's all a great risk. So the one is materializing, dematerializing on the moon, and right when it apparently, as they all do, it seems like that at least, know when they're on camera. Another one does a right angle turn right in front of it, and it's going so fast that the video frame rate can't keep up with it, and it literally blurs right off the camera. Wow. So it's pretty amazing. So anyway, I bought the property anyway because I didn't believe in UFOs. And then I had quite a number of experiences to prove that UFOs really do exist, and as well as aliens. Mm-hmm. They even admitted in the congressional hearings that we have biologics, as they call them now, bodies of aliens. So it should have been the biggest story in world history. I called it a Galileo Moment in my book, Sacrificing Humanity. But most people didn't watch the hearings. As a matter of fact, the one hearing, it was hosted by Representative Nancy Mace, which is the best of the 3 hearings. Mm-hmm. That one you could not find, even though it aired on C-SPAN live. You couldn't find it for almost a year after it aired. Mm-hmm. You can find it now, but I searched for it. I had friends who very confidently searched for it, and even AI would not mention it, mention the other 2. So we're making headway. So there's been a lot of whistleblowers and a lot of people with experiences, and I think I'm probably the only human that I know of that had one of these orbs 2 feet in front of my face.
Wow, yeah.
And lived to tell about it because the Gary Nolan, the Stanford pathologist, he examined 100 of these people. They go up, the orbs show up on launch control sites for nuclear weapons and take control of the command and control systems, which is scary.
Yeah.
And they send somebody out and they zap them. The orbs or UFOs zap them somehow. And they, of the 100 he examined, 25 died, and the rest had permanent brain damage, which is similar to Havana syndrome. So, but not all of them do that. In the congressional hearings, they said that there's a difference between them, and some of them don't. And I was fortunate to have one of the ones that doesn't. Wow. So I survived to tell about it.
Yes, that is incredible, because we all know, and it has been widely documented, that there's still some files and some paperwork that's out there that was supposed to be released to the general public. We were supposed to be able to see all that information, but it's somehow, it's gone up in smoke somewhere and disappeared, and no one's talking about it anymore. But I remember some of that stuff, Indy. I certainly do. So I definitely believe that there are some beings beyond this world that exist. And, wow, you've actually come in a good proximity to some of their hardware. So that is very interesting.
So when I was going from the island, the first experience I had was directly across the narrow fjord from the island. The fjord's really narrow in places. On the mainland, directly across in Cisnes is the area, I witnessed the largest cattle mutilation in world history on record that involved, in Patagonia alone, it involved hundreds of cows and dozens there in Cisnes in one single night. And I was there when it happened, just after it happened. And that involved 3 countries. Involved Argentina, where there was 1,500 cattle mutilations, according to Raul Chavez, who literally went to the police departments and cataloged them. That was in Argentina. And then Uruguay literally sent their Air Force, the division of the Air Force that relates to UFOs, to investigate cattle mutilations. So that should tell you something when you got the Uruguayan Air Force, the division for UFOs, investigating mutilation of cows. And then in Chile, there was probably hundreds. No one has it. I've been quizzing ChatGPT on this for like literally days. Deep questioning back and forth, conversation with AI. But the more I dig into it with AI, the deeper it goes. And now it's three countries: Uruguay, Argentina, and Chile. It all happened. Most of the events happened in June, right around the 18th to the 20th, in that range. And that's when I witnessed it there, just across the island. And this is very illustrative, because anyone who has theories other than UFOs, I can disabuse them of their notions very quickly on that. On this, if you got a minute, I can go through my proofs on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so number one, a lot of people say, well, like the events in Colorado, they say, well, maybe it's the U.S. military, and they're, I don't know, testing radiation on cows or biological testing or something, which would not be good for the ranchers, because some of these cows are worth, and some of them hundreds of thousands of dollars if they're breeding bulls. Yeah, so that's one of the explanations. Well, you can rule that out in Chile, because the one time in the 20 years I was down in Patagonia, the I knew when the U.S. military was there because they'd landed their ships in Valparaiso, and literally everyone in Chile knew. And the gringos would be in the Starbucks slipping caramel macchiatos with their short haircuts, and everyone knew. And that was not one of the years. And then, maybe it's the Chilean military. Now they're massively underfunded, and I've never seen them anywhere near this region. Maybe it's Satanists or pranksters or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, that can be ruled out because this was in June, which is Chile's winter, and in the rainforest, you cannot take one step in the rainforest without sinking an inch or more and creating running streams just from your tracks.
Wow.
So that's out. Plus the dirt road coming in, they're all intermarried family, the ranchers, and they would know when anyone's out there, especially a large group that would be required to pull something this massive of, hundreds and hundreds of cows and sheep across multiple ranches in Chile. And now that I've learned, after probing more into this, in Argentina and Uruguay at exactly the same time, simultaneously. So think of the scale of that.
Wow.
There's nothing even close.
No.
The Colorado mutilation, which comes in second, is nowhere near that.
Wow.
And then the other explanation, it's helicopters, because, sometimes helicopters are viewed, like in the Colorado incidents, because the military bases are close in Colorado. They happen to be in the mountains. And that doesn't fly with the Patagonia example, because we had to get one helicopter into the region, because there isn't any, for a television show, and we had producers and for the TV show worked days on it just to get one helicopter there. So I don't think that's a very good explanation either. So it rules out all the other explanations. But here's the clincher: is that it literally caused a psicosis colectiva, as they put it in Spanish, which is a mass panic.
Yeah.
Mass psychosis.
Wow. I've never heard that one before, Eddie. That sounds so weird and so creepy, and wow, I'm going to look up about mass psychosis.
Because the reason why is because they were seeing UFOs in the sky and lights, and seeing their cows exsanguinated by these lights in the sky. And so it caused a panic amongst the local population. It was literally reported in every single television station in Chile, equivalent to our ABC, CBS, NBC.
Right.
CNN wasn't there at the time, but on all the major channels in Chile, it was on all of them. And with picture after picture after picture of the blood-curdling pictures of, they're cored out like geological samples of their eyes and their sex organs and anuses. And I interviewed Linda Moulton Howe, who won an Emmy on her documentary, Strange Harvest, I think it's called. And she won an Emmy on that because she went deeper into this cattle mutilations than anyone and traced it to UFOs. She had some experts examine the cuts, which had multiple levels of laser burns, where they burn part of the skin and not another layer, and then burn the next layer and not. So it was extremely unusual, the cuts. And just looking at them, they look extremely unusual. So it rules out all the other explanations. But I still didn't believe in UFOs. I was there with two potential investors who were military guys. That's, I think, where what started the military interest in my island, which caused nothing but problems for me. Constantly, they didn't want anyone to own that island. But there was two military guys posing as investors that were there at the time. They were young guys from Afghanistan. But I had a constant stream after I bought the island of military people that was evidence to me that they know about this island and they didn't want anyone to own it. So I was in a constant battle for years over this island with saboteurs and so forth, wanting to announce herself. Hi, gives her name, and I'm a military intelligence interrogator. I said, well, do you always announce that you're a military intelligence interrogator to somebody you're about to interrogate? And she had this line that you could tell she's professional because she delivered it so many times. I can't do it justice, but it was something like, yes, every statement you make has a pretext, and based on the pretext, I can tell if you're lying or not. And based on your habits, I can tell what you're going to do and what you're,
Wow.
Anyway, so, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't, I didn't believe in UFOs until I actually had, me and my business partner were coming back one night on the Camino Austral, which is a dirt road that opened up this territory that man had never been on before. And they called it Pinochet's Folly. They pronounce it Pinochet instead of Pinochet, like French.
Right.
They called it his folly because they thought no one could build a road up this because it's a fjord, and then you have to cross the fjord, and you have to cross an Andes mountain, and a fjord and the Andes mountain. Can you imagine building a road through that? But they did, and anyway, me and my business partner were driving up on that road, and 3 a.m. hadn't seen a car in hours, and we were probably hundreds of miles from any human out in the national park in the winter at 3 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And so we pulled over and we're about to sleep, and then we saw one of these orbs, just like in tranches 4 and 5, that anyone could go look at. You see those things zipping around, that's what we saw. Wow. They do all these right angle turns and all these crazy flying, and then they materialize and dematerialize. They literally, like, just 1 minute they're there and the next minute they're gone, and then anyway, we watched this thing for 15 minutes, and then watching us watch it, they all seem to know that the camera is on them or eyes are on them. That's really clear to me in these 2 tranches that they've released. It's almost like they're saying, oh, you think you can get me in the gun cameras? Watch this. And they zip out of the camera like with instant acceleration that would defies physics completely.
Oh, wow.
It's like Fravor, when the pilot who testified in the congressional hearing, he said he's flying at full speed, and one of these comes up alongside of him, and he said, and then it just disappeared. It went, Choom! and it made him look like he was sitting still. And then 60 miles away, it was reported over their meetup spot instantly. Wow. It was already there.
That is incredible. Wow. That is something.
So can you imagine if we had that technology?
I know, right?
So, Wow. And the proof that we don't is that that we can't control these things. They are doing things that are completely out of our control. That's the best proof that these are not ours, because they are showing up at our launch control sites. And I interviewed missile leaders who, for the Minuteman missile sites, launch control sites, LCs as they call them, and they were describing how they witnessed a nuclear countdown where they're seeing these things launching. And they thought they were in nuclear war, so they had mental breakdowns over it. And the 3 that were, the one was telling me, the other 2 were nodding their head. Yes, we were there. They later wrote it off as a computer glitch, but I used to be a contractor at Google, and computers don't glitch, especially triple backup systems. They do what they're programmed to do unless taken over by an outside force, which in this case they were. And it's pretty shocking stuff.
Yeah. Wow. But Indy, for anyone that's listening that checked out this episode, what's the best way to get the book, of course? You know, if people are wondering, Sacrificing Humanity, where do they need to go to get the book? And also, how do they contact you? Because maybe somebody listening on some part of the planet now that's listening, that hears our voices, they want to reach out to you. What's the best way?
Yeah, my website is sacrificinghumanity.com. Mm-hmm. And the best way to get the book is either through my publisher, Twine Day, or on Amazon or any other bookseller. I think in Amazon you still need to type in the whole Sacrificing Humanity by Indy Pederson, Pederson. Mm-hmm. It's a way of, I don't know why it doesn't come up like most other books.
Oh, gosh, I think we know, Indy. I think we know why.
Yeah, well, yeah, right now it's on advance order, and like my last book, the only ones that have ordered in advance were the only ones that got it. I wrote a book on the fires, the 2020 fires that preceded the election, and the election fraud, tracing it to China, and I proved that irrefutably that was funded by China.
I believe
and,
that.
I had to pull the book, and so the only one who got the book were the ones who ordered it early. Oh. So if the listeners out there want my book, and they don't want to end up like the last one, I would highly recommend that they advance order it on Amazon or one of the other sources. If it ends up anything like the last book, I hope it doesn't.
No.
But the last book, the Dominion was suing for $1.3 billion. Wow. So we had to pull our book completely, all copies.
Imagine that. I don't even have a question as to why they would want to pull such a book. Interesting.
Yeah. So we had really good evidence on the fires. Mm-hmm. We had interviewed there's 3,000 homes that were almost 3,000 homes that was burnt here in Oregon, mm-hmm. on 198 businesses, and we knew more about those fires than anyone other than the two detectives who were working the case, because we had written a book about it, and because we wrote a book, we had witnesses calling us because we were on the radio shows. Mm-hmm. They were calling us. They were calling my cell phone and saying, "Hey, I witnessed this. Not only did I witness this, but I know two of the arsonists by name, and that they were paid." Yeah, so they're orchestrated, coordinated, and paid, and the fires are perfectly timed and coordinated. And so we were in dozens of meetings with the detectives in the sheriff's office on the fires, and we got threatened, so we had to pull the book.
Gotcha. So we may have to pull you again, Indy. We might have to, because I want to hear more about that book. This book is definitely good. I'm sure it will do wonders. But now I'm a little curious about that first book. So we may have to get you back on, Indy. I'm just putting it out into the universe.
I would love to be back. Yes, that is a very in-depth story. It was we set a record for getting that out 23 days after the 2020 election. Wow. And we wrote it and published it in that time, and it was the first book on the fires and the election fraud that was funded by China, which is now coming out finally. Just in the release, so whitehouse.gov. Look at the files. The evidence is there.
Absolutely.
But we had that in print clear back then.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually pulled down the Dominion programmer notes before they disappeared, just before the election, and the machines fractionalized votes. So why would you ever not use a whole number? Mm-hmm. So if you vote for one party, you get 1.37, and you vote for another party, you get 0.75. Mm-hmm. Why would you ever fractionalize a vote? Mm-mm. Why was there any reason other than using whole numbers in voting machines? Yeah, well, it's in the programmer notes in the manuals. So I proved that irrefutably in my last book.
I love that.
Yeah,
Indy, thank you so much for coming through. We so appreciate you. And we cannot wait till your next appearance on the show because we've got to go into more stuff. And I'm sure that you got some stuff cooking on the stove, too. Maybe we couldn't go into today, but I would absolutely love for you to come back and share with us.
Yes, especially volume 2 of that book. I really get in depth into the UFO aspects and the aliens aspect of it.
Yes, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love, all of your support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face, you tell them, don't believe me, just watch. Watch what I do, watch me make it happen, watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.